Perpetual wars were induced to occupy the masses while the chess pieces were placed in their current positions. We are now about to pay the price for our inability or unwillingness to confront the situation and incremental advancements leading to our own demise. According to the most recent information provided Doug Hagman from his source within the Department of Homeland Security, known as Rosebud, the final preparations are being made to deploy heavily armed federalized forces onto the streets of America. Now, folks, you saw the preview of that in Boston. This is what happened in Boston. They will be deployed under the pretext of restoring and maintaining order from the chaos brought about by the economic class, adding that many will demand and embrace their deployment on the streets of America. They will get what they ask for and more. Much like the security theater we've been following since the attacks of 9/11, we will be subjected to the jackbooted control of a federal army whose allegiance is not to the American people, but to the very architects of the chaos. That is the reason that drones are flying over the U.S. cities and farmlands, and gun control legislation is on the fast track for complete implementation. How can the people look at the situation in Cyprus and not think it won't happen here? It will, and the blowback will be unlike this country has ever seen. Surveillance and disarming the public, conditioning the people to believe it's for their own safety, is and has been part of the plan all along. Anyone owning a gun will be demonized and described as contributing to the problem. Folks, it's, tried to tell you this for 20 years. Told you I'm you can consider me the canary in the coal mine. What happens when the middle class loses much of their wealth, or it's confiscated by the stroke of a pen or a keyboard? What will stores look like when people unprepared due to the damn lies of the corporate media and the shield for the ruling class run to empty out everything they can get their hands on as the world as they know it collapses around them? It was during my most recent contact with my source, Doug Hagman says, yesterday, that he admitted the situation will not be blamed on the bankers and the elected leaders who are raping us of all of our wealth and buying power, but on right-wing, gun-toting, conservative militia groups who believe the situation is orchestrated. And, of course, it is orchestrated. When there is no Republican Democratic argument to be made anymore. It's all political theater to keep the majority of the masses occupied while the true enemy has already captured both parties. They're all in on it, folks, either knowingly or unwittingly, the takeover, that is, and it's getting harder to believe that there are any who are unwitting accomplices at this point. When the curtain is pulled back to reveal the true agenda of the same single digital world currency, the people who have been yelling the loudest about such conspiracy theories will be specifically singled out and demonized. They will be blamed for causing the panic we will see, and of course dealt with by the army we asked for, even accepted and even tolerated. Anyone who believes that this information provided by this insider is doom porn or some self-created fantasy need to look at the events taking place in Cyprus. It's coming to America. It has already begun. Well, folks, again, this is what I've been telling you about. And what I've tried to tell you about is that we can do this. Now we got a whole law firm that'll stand behind this if we want to bring the country into the city. You want to grow your food? That ought to be worth fighting for, wouldn't you say? I would think so. Let me look here. I've sent you a message here. Alright. This will be something I'll look at. They found a computer, an ancient analog computer designed to calculate astronomical positions. See what else we got. What do we got here? Okay. Larry claiming that one crashed on me. And let's see. Can't do that. Alright. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this whole concept of restoring food to America. Alright, let me look here. I've had some things crack up here. Okay. You know, we're about to need to know were the Sons of Liberty and Samuel Adams freedom fighters, or were they domestic terrorists? The identity of this bound revolutionary depends on whose side you're on. In the eyes of those loyal to the king, they were criminals. In the eyes of their fellow colonists, they were victims of tyranny and were justified in fighting for their lives, liberty, and property. Were the Native Americans that Wounded Knee freedom fighters? Was the government that sanctioned their slaughter committing an act of terrorism? Was the government that sponsored the Tuskegee syphilis study on black men guilty of acts of terrorism? Was the only government to drop an atomic bomb justified in killing the innocent in order to make the world safe for democracy? Why were we appalled when 3,000 Americans were killed on 9/11, but would cheer when our president ordered the deaths of thousands of innocent men, women, and children in Iraq? Why do we condemn those individuals and nations that follow the example of our founding fathers in opposing tyranny? How would American people respond if there were Russian submarines patrolling the Chesapeake Bay or Chinese troops stationed in Philadelphia? Terrorism is an act of rebellion against the principles upon which our nation was founded. Currently, most of our countrymen seem to believe that we should not tolerate acts of violence against the American people, but that in order to win the war on terrorism, we must attack and kill those that think we might be a threat to our future security. That is the same kind of logic that would suggest that the best way to promote peace is to engage in wars of aggression. If the money spent on wars was spent to feed the children of the world, perhaps the world would be a better and safer place to live. So one nation's patriots are another nation's terrorists. Sheriff Richard Mack has sent me a note. He said the convention in St. Charles, Missouri was a huge success with over 200 people in attendance and an outstanding collection of powerful speakers. This may be one of the greatest assemblies of the presentations on the Constitution that has ever taken place. Did you miss it? Well, not as all is lost. We shot a video of practically the whole thing and are making it available to you. You can order the full convention now from our website. Highlights DVD is also available. The theme of the convention is erecting the barriers. Falls right in line with the mission of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association to equip sheriffs, peace officers, and public officials with the necessary information and public support to carry out their duties in accordance with their oath of office. The 12 hours of video contains videos of Stuart Rhodes, Larry Pratt, Sheriff David Clark of Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, who got the CSPO Constitutional Sheriff of the Year awards, Michael Pataka, the constitutional scholar, president of the Institute on the Constitution, Chrisanne Hall, Michael Zullo, Sheriff Jeff Christopher of Delaware, personalities from around the world, Joyce Riley, Sheriff Richard Mack, all that's available, and the link is on my website. Alright, let's see, here's somebody sent me a definition of idiot. That was the origin, the Greek. Hightower recently wrote, idiots were not people with low-watt brains, but individuals who cared only about themselves, refusing to participate in public efforts to benefit the larger community, the common good. The Greek, I told the students, considered such people selfish, contemptible, and stupid, and so should we. Alright. Now that's again, the Organic Consumers Fund is up. I'll put up links to that on my website shortly, but I'm going to go somewhere else here. What I'm trying to put together right now, it might not work. It might not work because people might not be able to work together for a common goal. Now, if that common goal is, hey, let's learn how to grow our own food. I got kids in the house, we got kids in the house, so we can put them out in the garden, we can let them work in the garden, we can let them do things around. If there's a financial incentive, and if we've got set up this, we've got all of the details are here to set it up. The only thing we don't have is the money. LibertyVillages.org is secure. We've got links here. We've got the paperwork up. What we need are people calling me saying, hey, you know what, I've got a yard I'd like to convert. I got a farm here I'd like to some help on. Well, maybe we can find you some Vietnam veterans to come out. Maybe we can find you a low-cost structure to put up that you can let a half a dozen veterans sleep around and teepee on your property. And we can hook you up into this thing. It's all about gathering the names, gathering and I've always kept thousands of names on the database. That's kind of went down in the past, but I'll fix that. By what problem is it now? We can find you the siege. We can find you the topsoil. You're going to have to go up against the city, the county, the neighborhood association. Yep. Requires a little work. Requires a little gumption. But you can tell them we got a whole staff of lawyers behind us. We've got an organization with 700,000 people in it called Organic Consumers. We want good food. Somebody wanted to put you down for being a right-wing extremist, an anti-Semite, a racist. Hey, don't we all eat? We want to make this better for you. We want to raise production. We can build solar, we can build wind in our garages, and we can convert the backyard. If not, I've already found landscaping companies that'll be glad to do it for you, probably charge you $1,500. Or you can sign up for a college course in Timothy Bible College, and I'll be glad to teach you how to do this. Not a hard thing to do, it would seem to me. Not a hard thing to do. And I will take some calls here. Let's see what we got. Eight 347-688-2902. Everything that is coming across my desk is talking about going to be a food shortage. Going to be a food shortage. If you had started what I'm proposing 10 years ago, you'd be in great shape right now. You'd be making money. The people would be beating a path to your door. Matter of fact, let's do that. We got about 15 minutes here. And, okay, let's see this. Actually, jump on Facebook. Okay. By the way, the U.S. House votes to legalize industrial hemp. There's a growth industry for you farmers. My God. Here's a link on my website. Family urban farm generates 6,000 pounds of food on just 1/10 of an acre. I'll have this gentleman on my show shortly. But meantime,
growing your own usually means moving to the country, plowing the fields, cultivating the crops, harvesting the bounty for your table. But these days, more people are turning to their own backyards to create urban farms. One Southern California family is at the forefront of that movement. Drivers whizzing past on the 210 freeway through Pasadena have no idea away from the fast lane is a lush but tiny Eden, a 4,000 square foot farm. It not only feeds a family, but revolutionizes the idea of what can be done in a very unlikely place, the middle of a city.
It's a city living, but I brought the country to the city. Rather than have to go out to the country, I just imported it.
63-year-old Jules Gervais started this backyard farm 10 years ago. It's a deliberate throwback to the storied days of self-reliant rural America. Jules and his children grow almost all the food they need, and everyone pitches in.
Pounds of grapefruit.
His daughters, a niece,
We have another guy coming to pick our...
and
Are you done?
and his son, Justin. Their produce is organic, and their animals are, well, friendlier than average.
Say hi. Say hi. We have eight chickens, 4 ducks, and 2 goats. I joke with people. I said I think my animals fit better in a city backyard than a lot of dogs in the neighborhood.
The ducks and chickens lay thousands of eggs a year and keep the bugs in check.
And they really made the dynamics of urban homestead much more sustainable.
Sustainable and dense. On their 4,000 square feet, they raise 400 varieties of vegetables, fruits, and edible flowers. 6,000 pounds a year, enough to feed themselves with plenty left over. And with the current passion at high-end restaurants for local pesticide-free produce, chefs are literally beating a path to their door.
Hi,
Hello, good. How are you doing?
We have your order for today.
Oh, wonderful.
Here. So what are you going to do with the sorrel?
I'm going to use it to make a really nice relish with cucumber for a salmon dish.
The family makes about $20,000 a year from their front porch sales. They use it to buy the crops they can't grow, like wheat, rice, and oats.
I would say at the beginning, I didn't really believe I could do it. I had some doubts because I kept thinking,
Genetically modified corn.
when I thought about putting this food in my children's mouth, and they were depending on me to give them good stuff. I mean, they'll take whatever any child would take what a parent hands them. They'll say it comes from my mom or dad, and I couldn't afford to be in that position of giving them bad stuff.
Now, a decade later, this radical foodie has succeeded in going off the grid. He calls his lifestyle the path to freedom. And what did the family think of that whole approach?
They thought it was strange. They thought it was. My daughter wouldn't come out of the front yard and visit with her friends because they said, "What's up with your dad?" They wanted to know what was going on because I was making some radical changes here.
The Gervais have no ugly commute. They avoid office politics and will never get fired. But their jobs are way more than 9 to 5.
I need to help, all the help I can get. And it's my family that, like in the old days, the farmer's family made the difference.
Jordan takes care of the animals.
A joke for them, and we call them pet organic composting machines.
Justin is in charge of making sure they get the most out of every square foot of soil. And sometimes the results are extraordinary.
You actually grew that?
Yeah, it's like a little pumpkin, but it's very long.
Just one thing?
He's also the beekeeper.
Oh my gosh, that's the first time I've ever done straight from the honeycomb.
Jules prides himself on his gourmet compost.
Yummy, yummy. Only worms could love them. I brought it stuff.
Anise is in charge of cooking the vegetarian meals.
All homegrown, strawberries and edible flowers and salad and beets and carrots.
And the canning.
We got grape leaves, pickles, beans, and pickled peppers to all sorts of jams, tomato sauce.
And the menu? That depends on what's in season. What happens when something's out of season?
We just don't eat it. You're out of luck. It's out of season.
There are no microwave ovens in this kitchen, and no Cuisinarts either.
We have, gizmos, but they're just hand-powered.
What little electricity they use is generated by these solar panels.
How much is your electricity bill?
Well, it's running about the high as $12 a month.
$12 a month for everything here.
Yeah.
They spend even less on gas. This is their biodiesel brewing station.
So this is just used grease from restaurants.
Yeah, they use it to fry onion rings, french fries, anything you would fry.
And you get it free?
Yeah, free and delivered on our doorstep.
The gasoline station is self-serve. It hasn't always been easy. Justin remembers the year that frost wiped out a crop. Another year it was a destructive insect. And recently they've noticed a new challenge, climate change.
Alright. I don't know why that damn thing starts roaring like that.
Oh, at the forefront of global weirdings, because we've been gardening for so long, you can sense things are off. We have this June bug that comes out. It's called June, so it's supposed to come out in June, but it comes out in July and August, and September. So something's definitely off.
The other challenge is water. Southern California skies don't deliver enough of it. So Jules keeps the water bill down with this ancient form of irrigation.
It's a clay pot irrigation.
So it's buried under there.
It's buried, usually up to the throat here, and then all you do is fill it up, and the water weeps through the porous skin, through the clay, and you get the water where the plants need it at the root zone. Plants take the water as needed. So just so simple.
It's 5 o'clock, dinner time, the time when it all pays off.
It's going to be inside out.
The Gervais are the ultimate locavores. Their food travels a whole 100 feet from the field to the table. They all say they love urban homesteading and can't imagine living a typical consumer-driven life. But there's one thing they would like.
My plans are to have Homesteadville, which is
What's Homesteadville?
a village of all homesteads to start off. My family will be there. They'll have their homesteads. Their extended family will be there, and people that want to live this lifestyle will be there.
At the end of the day, some not-so-back-to-nature activity. Visits to their websites have grown dramatically. They get about 6 million hits a month from others interested in this grow-it-yourself revolution.
Growing food yourself is a dangerous act because you're in danger of becoming free. We're all in the same boat, on the same planet, and there are people now asking deep questions about the future of the planet. And they're willing to do this. They're willing to take a risk.
It's a risk that has paid off for Jules and is blazing a trail for others.
Alright. I put that up on my Facebook page along and the Free American page. I don't know about that. Matter of fact,